Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your man, Ken Jackson. This is the Ken Jackson Experience. So, Election Day is almost here. There's a lot of chatter now about these militia groups and some of them threatening violence if Donald Trump doesn't win. And not all of them support Donald Trump and his policies, but almost all of them are anti-government, and there is a possibility that there could be some civil unrest on or after Election Day. And that's a very solid possibility, y'all. Don't sleep on it. Don't think it can't happen here. I was just watching something on the news here just a little bit ago, where some Venezuelan supporters of Donald Trump are saying that if Biden gets elected, then the United States is going to end up like Venezuela, a socialist hellhole, pretty much. Listen, that's bullshit, y'all. Knock off the nonsense. I don't understand how any of you can support Donald Trump and his fascist, dictatorish tendencies. You actually believe that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would institute socialism in the United States, when you clearly have Donald Trump trying to make himself a king, trying to make himself the first American dictator? This is what you want, King Donald? I just don't understand y'all's reasoning. I don't understand how any of you think that Donald Trump gives a damn about you. I heard some Trump supporters the other day say he's just like us. How? How in the fuck is Donald Trump just like us or just like y'all? You broke-ass hillbilly motherfuckers, Donald Trump ain't never been just like y'all. Donald Trump was born into privilege. He was raised in privilege. And he will always live his life in privilege unless his ass gets sent to prison for all the scams and corruption that he's run over the years. Which is what he's afraid of if he doesn't get reelected. And to my veteran brothers and sisters that support Donald Trump, how could you dishonor the uniform like that? How could you throw your support behind a draft-dodging coward like Donald Trump, who has never served this country in any way, shape, or form? When it was his turn to serve, he ran away. He got daddy and his rich friends to get him out of serving. I saw an awesome post today, earlier, of a veteran wearing a t-shirt. I gotta get me one of these t-shirts. It said, how did it go? It said, some gave all gave some, and one had bone spurs. I love that shit. Donald Trump is a coward. How could you put your support behind a coward for all of us that volunteered to serve, especially black veterans, because we volunteered to serve a country that ain't been so great to us, but we still served. But Donald Trump had bone spurs. 6 times. 6 times he got deferments. 6 times he avoided service. And the fact that it was during wartime too, in my opinion, makes him not only a coward but a traitor. But that's just my opinion. Fortunately, I served so that people could be free to be cowards. We have a guy in office who won't denounce white supremacy. A guy who told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by. A guy who said in Charlottesville there were fine people on both sides. A guy who said in Kenosha, Wisconsin, that those were just good people out there expressing their frustration. But he calls Black Lives Matter a terrorist group. He doesn't acknowledge the fact that we are being killed in the streets at a rate 2 to 3 times more than white folks by the police, the ones who are sworn to protect and serve us. He won't acknowledge the fact that we're dying at the hands of the cops at a much higher rate than everybody else. He doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that there is systemic racism in the United States. He doesn't want to acknowledge the fact that there is white privilege in the United States. But yet, your black asses out there supporting this guy, talking about how much he's done for the black community. What exactly has he done for the black community? Hell, he ain't doing nothing for the white community. All he gives a shit about is the stock market. Other elitists like him. Other wealthy motherfuckers like him. And there's a bunch of them he don't like. Mainly because they're wealthier than his ass. We have a president who, for the last 4 years, said he was going to show us his tax returns as soon as the audit was done. This has got to be the longest audit in IRS history. We have a president that's over $400 million in debt. To who? We have no fucking clue. Who does he owe money to? Because whoever he owes that much money to is who's pulling his strings. Believe that. But y'all support him. This man who has caused more division in this country than any president in the history of this country. He doesn't care about you. He don't care about me. He barely cares about his own damn people. But you support him. I can't understand it. I just don't understand it. But come November 3rd, hopefully, his ass will be out of there along with a bunch of the other Republicans that are co-signing his bullshit. We can only hope. But don't get complacent, y'all, because he could still win. He could be reelected. And if he is reelected, We have some dark days ahead, y'all. I bet Putin and China and even Iran would love for Donald Trump to be reelected, because then they would know that America is on its way down permanently. We could be very well witnessing the end of America as we knew it. And don't get me wrong, like I said, America hasn't been that great to me and my people. I'm not going to say that I had a miserable life, but it was definitely challenging. It's still challenging being black in America. I'm tired, personally. I'm tired of having to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard, sometimes 4 and 5 times as hard as the other guy, just to be considered on the same level. For those of you that don't understand that, you'll never understand it, because you're melanin deficient. And because you're melanin deficient, you'll never understand the struggles that we have on a day-to-day basis. You don't have to talk to your sons and daughters about how to conduct themselves during police traffic stops so that they don't end up in a body bag and on the 6 o'clock news. You don't have to talk to your sons and daughters about how they have to perform 100 times better than the next person to get the same position. You don't have to do that. We have a president who on tape said that he downplayed the virus. He knew how dangerous it was. He knew how deadly it was. He knew it was worse than the flu, but yet he wanted to downplay it. And that he did. And he came out a few days later and outright lied to the American public about the virus because he didn't want to cause a panic. Let me tell you something. You should be panicking now because this pandemic is out of control. I hear some of you call it a plandemic. It is a plandemic. But it wasn't planned by the people that you think it was planned by. It was planned by the very ones right now who are still continuing to call it a hoax, who are still trying to downplay it and tell you it's not as dangerous as it is. The one that's holding these super spreader rallies all across the country, not giving a shit about the health of those who show up, just because he wants to have big crowds. This is the guy y'all support. I don't understand it. But hey, who am I? I'm just another American who's free to think the way that I want to think, free to pursue happiness and all that other bullshit that really didn't apply to us when they wrote it all up, to tell you the truth. November 3rd, y'all. Get your asses out there to vote. There ain't no excuse. No excuse. I voted early. And for those of you out there saying that voting is not for us and voting doesn't do any good for us, your black ass needs to think about the fact that if it wasn't for voting, you wouldn't be able to do the shit that you do right now. Your ass might still be in bondage. Your ass might still be in chains. But because somebody before us fought and died, got beaten, got hosed down, got dogs put on them, these people sacrificed a lot so that you would have the right to vote and participate in trying to make this country better. It ain't going to get no better unless you participate, unless we all participate. We have to fight from the inside out, y'all. From the inside out, from the bottom up. Politics works from the bottom up. So get your ass out there and vote. Not just for the president and Congress, but also for your state and local administrators as well. Think about who you're electing for those local offices, because that's where the real change is going to happen. Stop spreading that bullshit talking about voting doesn't work for us. If your ass don't vote, your ass ain't got no reason to complain about anything. So get out there and vote November 3rd. Get out there and vote early if your state has early voting. But no matter what, participate. And not just in the vote, but after Election Day. Stay active. Participate in your local civics. Participate. Be proactive in your local government and things that are going on in your community. Don't just think it all ends on Election Day, because that's only when the work begins. I'm your man's Ken Jackson. This has been the Ken Jackson Experience. I'll see you on November 3rd. Peace.